Check-o, check-o! Born to roll!
All right, welcome to another episode of Born to Roam. It's been a while, so it's nice to come back real strong with my boy Brandon here from Chastity. How's it going, Brandon?
Good. How are you?
I'm very well. How is your 100th lockdown treating you?
I know. It's been, it's weird to do it in the winter again, but it's been all right. How's yours been?
It's been pretty good. I've been loving your new record, Suffer Summer.
Thank you. Thanks for checking it.
Very sick. So is this your third or fourth LP?
Third
LP. And this one seems to be going extremely well for you. So that is fucking awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Do you feel like there has been some additional traction due to the actual pandemic? Like, do you think that because a lot of artists seem to be hesitant to release stuff right now because they can't get out and actively support it with touring and all that stuff, that there is a bit of some freedom on the highway to make up some ground? Do you feel like that's a factor in any of this for you?
I think potentially. I know what you mean. Like, I think I feel weird right now that I can't tour, that like you put something out, you get this visibility, and then you're supposed to stay visible by posting pictures from Omaha, Nebraska, and whatever you're like posting on and keeping on people's feeds or whatever. Isn't that the plan usually? So now I'm just trying to keep up with it all. But you're probably right. Like, if people are hesitating to release stuff because it's the pandemic still, and because there's this vinyl delay or whatever's going on with that, maybe my shit in turn has been more visible or something.
I think you make a good point there. When we had the same experience at the beginning of about a year ago now, is trying to put something out and figure out how to support it. And, content is the real C word, I'd say.
Honestly. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely it's hard to not draw the conclusion that there are some benefits to kind of trying to put stuff out when everyone else is hesitant to do so, but there are reasons why everyone's hesitant to put stuff out, which are, it's very tough to know how to keep piling coal into the furnace of a release,
right?
Just purely through the digital format, which does, I'm sure for everyone, becomes a bit of a pain in the ass.
Honestly, yeah. Well, being asked to post TikToks or whatever, it's just not something I've been used to or whatever. And I think people were calling the project elusive and shit up until this point, and I don't think the project's been elusive. I think I've just been nervous or something. And it's like and being asked, I think, to step out with this amount of content, it's like I think I have now had to step out of comfort zone a little and just post and just get on the fucking TikTok or whatever, man. And like and Instagram and whatever, and just like here it is. When I think my preference is like, here are the 10 songs that I labored over or whatever. Here's the music, here's like the videos and whatever. That would be my preference, but it's just not the world like that we live in, and that's fine. I think and granted, TikTok is kind of fun and funny and whatever, and Instagram is too. The shit it's fine or whatever, but I guess I am nervous to do it though, honestly. So, and there's pressure to do it.
For sure. I mean, it's I have a weird relationship with it that I think is probably pretty common with most people in art situations, which is, I dread having to do it, but then once I do it and it goes well, it's like, ooh, I feel a little bit of a dopamine rush coming on, and then it's just like, okay, now do it again, and you're like, shit,
and then it eats shit the next time.
Yeah, and you're like, damn, what I do wrong, and then somebody tells you, oh yeah, you didn't play the algorithm right, and I'm just like, I'm not a fucking
I know it needs to be 7 seconds. Really? I didn't know it needs to be 7.
I am highly suspicious of anybody that tells me that they understand how any of this works.
Honestly, I know.
I think it's just like throwing things and see what works. The more shots you take, the better it is, better your chances. But at the same time, like if you're putting out content that you're like, this sucks, not only does it eat your soul, but like it doesn't reflect well on the brand. So it's kind of a catch-22 situation where you're kind of forced to come up with stuff that you can stand behind, but like a high quantity. You're supposed to come up with quality and quantity, which is a bit of a tough ask. I feel
it is.
You know?
Yeah, it is. I think it's not my preferred format or whatever. I like doing that with music videos or with like, and that's what I've been used to. I think that's what I've been like trying to get better at. And now it's like, oh, I haven't been considering this short form video thing with humor necessarily. You know what I mean? And now it's like, and can you do that 365 times a year at least? I'm like, I don't think so. Actually, I don't think I can, but I'll try or whatever. I don't know.
I think I just always feel, you know, when I listen to the voices about all these stuff that are like, you have to do more of this, I'm never going to meet that mark because like, I just don't want to. And I also, when I kind of have my wits about me and I feel more confident about the whole thing, I say, I understand what what you're asking me to do, but I also, as an artiste, feel comfortable in saying, fuck you, I'll do whatever I want. I'll play the game the way I want to play it.
Right.
But I'm not going to, strap on my fucking tutu and get out there for a few, extra likes and probing some new demographics. That's not who I am. No. And let the chips fall where they may. But it's obviously there's a different kind of imperative and pressure when you're like right in the eye of a release, to really keep things going. And I remember I was talking to Adam Bentley. You know Adam, right?
Yep.
Yeah, Adam was telling me that I think it was like 60,000 new songs get released a day or something. We were talking about this earlier. Like, it's a crazy world. But I don't know. It's, as I said, I am kind of weary of anybody that thinks that they have the whole thing figured out. I think you just got to do your best, and the number one thing is you got to make the best like music and visuals that you can present, and then just experiment with, the supportive material. But I think other people have it the backwards way where they're just like, I got to be posting on all this stuff. Our songs are terrible, but that doesn't matter because we have 1 million followers on TikTok. But what does that actually translate to? Right. Are people coming to your shows or
right? Honestly,
anyways,
it's true. No, it's true. I think I do want the songs to like reach the people who they're written for. And so now it's like, oh, that happens in this way, and being told like, this is how. I think it does feel trippy and weird when I think the initial hope for us is probably like for both of us and our bands have been like, let's work on the best songs possible, put them out, and then hope, right, that the purest form of connecting with people is probably word of mouth and people insisting that their friends check it out, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, I guess that is still the hope in the back of my mind, that it just gets legs and runs to these friend groups and whatever, and they show up in packs at the shows and whatever. And but I guess that happens by being visible on these platforms or something. So I don't know.
I agree with you though. I do kind of hold out for that, and I do honestly think that is the most efficient proselytizing of your music, is people telling other people, check this out. It can occur online. Like, that's a super cool way it happens, but that's the way in my opinion, you get actual fans, and not somebody that's like, oh, I checked out this one song, what's the next thing, but when people tell their friend, check this song out, or check, that's how most people that have, told us, hey, we got into you this way, it's from a friend, and so I think that you're right, and I think that it all kind of boils back down to for me is like, I think trying to just put out stuff on these various platforms that you'll stand behind and not just like trying to keep up, you know, for keeping up's sake.
For sure.
But I don't know, I could be wrong, but that's my, that's also how I justify my laziness. I just feel like a sense of like constant dread, like when it's like, I got to come up with some sort of thing to let people know that I'm still alive. You know? I don't like that.
I know. And I don't even feel that it's your laziness. I get the sense that you and I both are obsessed with our projects.
Oh yeah.
Like I'm obsessed with Chastity.
Live and breathe
I think about it goddamn all the time. But for some reason I haven't got an hour in my day. Why don't I have an hour in my day for that?
Yeah.
So it's like, it's so distracting to every other part of my life, really. But I can't be asked to do this one extra new thing or whatever. Yeah. So I do feel a bit maybe guilty about that because I'm thinking about it all the time and I'm doing stuff toward the project all the time. It's not just working on music, recording it, playing shows or whatever. There's all this other bullshit, right? There's all these emails and it's the beast and you got to wake up and tame
feed
this
the beast
and feed the, So it's, anyways.
I mean, yeah, we could just like sit for 6 hours and talk about this, but I mean, but just back to my basic kind of question here. So like, do you feel like that with Suffer Summer that you've kind of been able to reach a new kind of level? Because that's certainly what it's going great, and it's. You know, you have been working super hard on this. You've been steadily releasing singles for the last few years when most people have kind of like, I'll just, hang back during this whole pandemic thing. You guys have been crushing it, and I just want to say it's beautiful to see.
Thank you.
You get the recognition that you deserve.
Shit. Thank you for saying. Like, yeah, I think. I mean, it's hard to like look back and see like, okay, what has happened. The first record we put out was called Death Lust in 2018, and that got some positive criticism or whatever, and it went well, and these platforms started supporting and the people started supporting and people started sharing it around or whatever. And then a year later we put out like a pretty like politically charged, like kind of sharp, maybe alienating record that didn't go as well off the hype of the first. It was just the fucking sophomore slump or whatever. So experienced that honestly, and I like that record. We play we play a ton of those songs still and whatever. I like it. But people didn't as much or something. And then I think this record, maybe it's sort of the redemption off the shoulders of the first or something. I can't really tell what's going on, but this record has seemed to have positive reception, and I guess we'll see when we start playing shows and whatever. And like I think I did have in mind off the last record, like it was the first time that people were singing along to like one song in particular, and it was like, I think I was like, okay, I love writing hooks, maybe I'll just do a little more of this stuff, and so I think that wasn't the only intentional part, but I don't think that was like, I'll do this so we can reach more people. It was just like I was trying to chronicle my love of emo on the 3. It's like a trilogy, and I wanted to take it sort of era by era, and I think I just reached the sort of Jimmy Eat World worship era on this one, and wanted to do that, and you know what I mean? Let's get the hook first, and then let's make the verses choruses too, and whatever. It was the most fun to write, I think, this one.
Well, the hooks are sharp, man. The hooks are sharp as hell. So that's an interesting way of doing it. I was going to ask you, obviously, I love talking to people about their process. It's always a very fascinating thing to me because there's a million ways to do it. But is that did you kind of start with that premise, or did it just kind of organically come that way? in terms of just like really, really zeroing in on hooks? And was it more of like did you feel yourself kind of free to just kind of pursue that direction and really fulfilled by really going for the hooks, or was it more of a conscious decision from the outset?
No, I thought about it like that. In 2016, I tweeted "Suffer Summer" like back in the day, and I wanted to sort of get here or whatever and build it. And I think on the first record, it was like, I think that the Smashing Pumpkins are an emo band. They're like one of the first. There are a lot of other things too, and they're fucking sick, but they're also an emo band. So let's make that first stop and do this fucking Pumpkins worship record. And then second stop was Homemade Satan. It was kind of this more 80s kind of Smithsy, also a fucking emo band, I think. And then let's make a stop here. And so at this sort of hook zone, early 2000s emo type shit, you know.
Great time for hooks.
For sure it was, for sure. So I don't know, it was intentional to hook it up and whatever and
swing for the fences.
Honestly, yeah. So, but the process is that I've got sort of lyrics first and theme. I'm just kind of working toward a theme. The theme of this is like happiness. It's a record about happiness, and yeah, I just kind of riffed on that idea. It was like something I could point to and just keep writing about or whatever, and then it was like, yeah, let's write some fucking tunes and had some hook. I just had like some hook voice memo ideas and shit, and just fill in the voice memos and then going from there, you know.
Side note, we got to say that I think out of all the tools of the modern world, after talking to as many of my very talented friends as I have at this point on this podcast, I think I got to give a huge shout out to voice notes, which I think is maybe the unsung hero of pretty much all the musicians I know.
For real. Shout out Steve Jobs.
Yeah.
R.I.P. bud.
So that, I mean, I was going to ask you about that. That's an interesting thing that you kind of pointed to there about having kind of a, you know, not necessarily like a mood board, but some kind of that when I think of your band and your, the images that you present and the music that you associate with it, there's a very close marriage of things. And it seems like a very realized kind of, I'm struggling for the words here, but it's all very cohesive. So it's interesting to hear that you kind of start with like, I'd like to have this is what I'm aiming for, and this is what everything will return to from the outset. That's interesting.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate. Yeah, it's sort of a Pinterest board. If you will. It's sort of a. I think I'm just like, okay. Similar to you guys, I think it's like, I think there must have been a point for you, right, where you're like, we're not from Toronto, we're from Dundas. Like, and I think for me, it's like, it was the same way. I think we probably both saw it. Things were happening in Toronto, and we could go and drive there and play there or whatever. But I think for me, it was like, okay, Chastity's from Whitby, and there's kind of a mood. You step out in Whitby or whatever, it's this sort of sprawl,
barren,
you know, this like, yeah, and kind of a lonely place around 100,000 people, right? It's like the suburban kind of feeling. So it's like, I think that's just the given. That's like the step outside the house, the first step. That's just like the chastity feeling, I think, or the being in your room alone. You know what I mean? That's like, that's me anyways. That's been me. So I guess that's just the mood. I don't know if that's what you're referring to, but that I think is what the project feels to me, because I think it's authentic or whatever to me.
Yes, and I think that really kind of fleshes out what I was going for in terms of when I think of your band, especially the dominating kind of imagery and even just the sound is one of solitude and just kind of standing out in a kind of a bit of a barren landscape, you know, and that's I really like you touching base on that. Where I'm from, this is who I am. This is you know, as our good buddy Drew Thompson said, you got to write about what you know. You got to write about what you know. It's harder to, try and bend yourself into some sort of scene. Toronto bands making party anthems when it's like, that's not my reality though. This is my reality. So let me write about this.
Straight up. Yeah, I think that's what I was like seeing. And I mean, Chastity started, I went to a Mets show in, I think 2012 or something. And I was like, okay, shit, this is tight. Like, and then like ripped off one of their songs on one of my first songs, Manning Hill, and just kind of took it from there. But I think I saw a band like doing that in the city or whatever. And I think I was like, can this happen in my room too? Because this feels like it happened, out of some sub pop type sounding bedroom shit, like riff into a big sounding band at the jam space, into like just this old way of doing things in a new fucking way. I think I saw Mets do it and was fucking blown away. And I was like, I need to try to do this in a way that's authentic to me.
Was that a real kind of genesis moment for Chastity, basically just seeing Mets play and saying, maybe I could do this?
Yeah, I think there's times prior to that, but I think that was a big
it kind of
night
focused
for me.
your vision and kind of gave you something to really strive towards.
Yeah, I think Chastity's sort of a post Mets, you know what I mean? In a way, I don't know, and a post a ton of other shit that I rip off or whatever, and we rip off. But yeah, I think it was an inspirational moment for sure that night and at the Horseshoe.
Was it in Toronto?
Yeah.
That's sick. I remember seeing Mets for the first time. The first time I saw Mets was actually at one of these Constantine shows, and I was like, holy crap, this band is really loud.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it was in Toronto at...
what year?
At Lee's. That was 2010.
Damn.
Yeah. I think they were just kind of... Well, I mean, it was the first time I had heard of them. I'm sure they'd been rumbling around a bit, but that was... my first interaction with them, and I had a very similar like, holy shit, this band is this is like Nirvana if you just like if Kurt Cobain didn't ever hear the Beatles. Like,
that's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly.
It's like a more pure version of Nirvana.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk a little about like growing up in Whitby and like what was your? I mean, you're a bit younger than me. What year were you born?
90.
90. Okay, so we're the same year. But what was your kind of like? You grew up with MuchMusic, obviously.
Yeah.
Like everyone from our generation.
Yeah.
What was the first? Was that the first time that you kind of got attached to a band? Was from MuchMusic, or was there a local radio station that you really dug, or how did you get in?
Well, I wasn't allowed to watch MuchMusic and shit growing up. Like I grew up in the church and shit, and so it was kind of like sneaking MuchMusic and BET. Yeah, honestly. Yeah. So it was like even all that much more attractive to like watch and find out about something on MuchMusic. And I think it was like when babysitters were over or whatever, we would get to watch those channels or sneak them because they didn't know or something. And so I saw Alexis on Fire on Much On Demand, 3 p.m. or whatever. And I was fucking blown away by that too. And I think that I was like, I had literally been used to like Christian type music and church. I grew up around a ton of music, like brass band type of stuff. We grew up Salvation Army. So it's like brass band and hymns, and I grew up playing the euphonium and the trumpet, you know what I mean? These brass instruments.
Wow.
And so it was Alexis on Fire was a lot different than that. And I think spoke more directly to my heart than that shit was, you know. God bless it.
God bless it.
But so I think it just sort of honestly changed my life big time, like that moment probably, and then found out about whoever, Billy Talent and all that shit was on. I think it was like Strombo, probably George Strombopoulos, like pulling the strings, getting these like sick bands played behind the scenes right at MuchMusic, and it was tight. Like, and then I just started going to shows. There were punk shows happening in the next town over in Oshawa at this basement venue called The Dungeon. And I would just see, I saw Suicide Silence there. I saw like fucking Set Your Goals, and these bands would just make, I think, like, you know, Monday or Tuesday night sort of B market stops in Oshawa.
Date fillers.
Yeah, exactly. But then I'd have the privilege of like getting exposed to these like amazing, like world-class kind of like outsider bands in the town next to me. So yeah, I guess I was just like around it and an admirer and just a sort of like outside, like a studier of this type of shit. And I was just fascinated by it. And then just
and then it went from there. I mean, that was an incredible moment in time where like Alexis on Fire was like on high rotation on MuchMusic and also on The Edge and everything. And it was like this post-hardcore infiltration and takeover of Canadian airwaves. It was just a very specific moment in time, but I think, you know, you and I are the same age. It hit at the same moment in our lives, and it was around like 12 or 13 or 14 or something like that. And it was just like, whoa, this is different than, you know, in the late 90s, it was like Blink, which was sick, but like, and Sum 41 and all that stuff. But it was like, this is craziness. Like, this is absolute, you know, the first time I saw Alexis on Fire, I was like, this is music. Like, this is technically classified as music as well, because I had never seen or heard anything like that. There wasn't people at my school that really were touting it. So that it was a very eye and ear opening experience that I'm very thankful happened at that time in our lives. For sure.
And bless those other bands like Blink-182 and Sum 41. But I think when Alexis on Fire happened for me, it was like, as much as the emo word or whatever was thrown around pretty flippantly, I think it was just like emotional music that actually just struck a chord with me and was real and talked about shit that I felt in ways that I couldn't say, but they were saying. I think it just fucking moved me, you know, and spoke to me. And so I think that, and I was just attracted then. It was sort of the template of like, that's the music I like now or whatever, and finding other shit, The Used and whoever else, you know.
Was that kind of a template for your own expression, or were you at that point, or were you still just kind of, as you said earlier, like an observer? You were still kind of like, okay, I like this. Now what else do I like? Was it more of that at that time for you?
Well, I think back then it was like, okay, this is what I like. I think I was just admiring it, trying to find out more. I think I was like downloading shit illegally or whatever, and just scrolling forums and scrolling whatever. I found Refused that way. I was like, what the fuck is this? This is sick too. It was released in 1997 or whatever. I was like, holy shit, where's this band now? You know? But I think there was tons of people doing that at the time. Like discovering Refused after they were supposed to be dead or whatever. And then they came back and sold more tickets than they ever had, right? So it's like, it's because we were all doing that at that time. So I was just an admirer, and I think I was just trying to find out as much as I could on the internet, you know?
What was your first favorite band? Like, was there a band before any of this that you really, really got into, or was this kind of this moment in time, did that really begin your, you know, your current love affair with music?
I think Alexis on Fire was sort of my first. I was quite sheltered and quite, I mean, I can probably just name Christian artists before that, honestly. Like, the full truth is that like my first concert was at Wonderland. It was this band called Jars of Clay, this Christian rock band.
Did they rock?
So, I don't think so. I don't know. I mean, so, but, sort of revisionist history. I think Alexis on Fire was my first concert. And George posted that poster the other day. It was Sleeper Set Sail, Planet Smashers, the Constantines, and Alexis on Fire at the Cool House.
Wow.
It was a pretty insane kind of trippy bill, right?
What year was that?
2004.
Wow.
Or 2003 maybe. I think 2004. Yeah.
That's wild.
So it was fucking crazy. And yeah. And we saw, someone snuck us in, like someone doing security. Our friend, shout out Mike Brown, his dad knew someone on security and got us in that night. And so we were just like standing around an empty-ish Cool House in that dead time before doors or whatever. And that's when I met Dallas Green.
Wow.
In 2004. Yeah, we punished him for a picture or something. We had digital cameras and just, he was trying to chill. He was trying to set up merch or something like that, or looking at something in the corner, and we were just standing around like goofs and, can we get a big show? Excuse me.
Yeah. Mr. Green.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that we have to segue from there. I mean, what's it like to now get to have made a song with Dallas?
I can't believe it. Like, I was just sort of throwing it out there when we made this song, and I was like, I get that there's reasons to say no beyond, like, I get that, like, if he does this for me, it sort of opens this Pandora's box. Who else is gonna fucking ask? So I get the reasons, even if he likes Chastity or whatever, I get the reasons to say no, and there's so many of them. But he was like, yeah, like, and so it was insane that he was down, and I don't know. I can't believe it. I don't know what to say. Like, I can't believe he came through down the road from here and sang it at Catherine North, and I was just like, I literally went to Hasty Market and bought lottery tickets that morning because I was like, this is my lucky day. Like, yeah. But yeah, I spent $40 on them and won $20, so it wasn't a full. Yeah. But it was an insane day, man. Like, yeah.
So, and by the way, the song's called Vicious Circle. Please check it out. It is a beautiful song, by the way. You, man. You guys croon beautifully together on that one.
Thank you.
Did you guys record it together at Catherine North, or were you mostly done your tracking when he came in?
Okay, we recorded most of it at the Sugar Shack studio in London, Ontario. It's
with Simon?
Place. With Simon, exactly. Yep. Simon Larachette. Shout out Simon.
Shout out Simon.
Legend. And we've recorded all our stuff, pretty much all our stuff except for 1 or 2 songs at the Sugar Shack Chastity discography. And then we recorded strings at Catherine North for the high ceilings and for the, you know what I mean? We recorded like 8 songs worth of strings. And then it just turned out like that song was just too beautiful for my voice, I felt. And I was like, literally, I need help on this. And literally I feel the song is like a bit too high for my voice. Like the key that we'd recorded these strings
and it was already
in.
Tracked.
It was already tracked.
Like, can't use a capo now, boys.
No. Yeah. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna try asking and see what happens, and maybe we can live up to like the beauty of this song with the strings on it or whatever. And then he came through and brought George Pettit. And I was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I'm just like trying to keep my composure here. I try just not to punish those guys when I'm around them because I know them so well from the outside. And now here I am in a room and I'm trying not to ask like extremely specific questions about their band or whatever.
Yeah.
But they're so sweet and it's so surreal, and I just try not to be a Punisher or whatever.
That is the wonderful thing about rock and roll is that, I mean, it's a hell of a rocky road and a very interesting one. But if you stay in it long enough, you do get to have these unbelievable, wondrous moments like that. I mean, that's amazing. That's an incredible. I can't even imagine what it must have felt like sitting there watching Dallas sing on your tune and remember watching Much on Demand. I'm sure those images are flashing through your mind.
Exactly. Oh, it was insane. And he was in there. He's like, "You mind if I marry J. Blige on this part?" I was like,
throwback to your early BET viewing.
Nice. Yeah. It was insane. It was, I can't believe that day. It's March 22nd. I remember the day because I was so nervous. There was this 3 or 4 week gap between asking him and him coming through where I just couldn't sleep. I couldn't believe it. Wow. And I was like, I'll believe it when the day happens or whatever. And not because I didn't believe him or that he's unreliable or something. But I was just like, I can't believe this could happen.
Yeah.
But anyways,
that is so sick, Brandon. I'm so happy for you, man. And the track turned out amazing too. That is a special tune in your catalog. So when was your first time that like you got up on a stage? When you finally did you join an existing band? Did you start a band with a group of other people, similarly minded people? What was that experience like?
Yeah, I was at church or whatever. I used to sing at church. I used to like play in the junior band at church, like play strings or play brass stuff with a bunch of people, like a group of 15 people or whatever. And that would be my first. And then I played like an acoustic show at a church in Pickering, Ontario. And then played kind of acoustic type shows and high school, and then just kind of kept playing and just making an attempt at figuring out the stage. I'm still fucking figuring it out and trying to be myself, but also be like energizing. Be
your best you, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird. I mean, what's your experience? Because you fucking kill it, and I watch you, and I'm like, okay, I need even an ounce of this will do well for.
That's very kind of you.
Like,
I don't know. I sorry to this isn't supposed to be a cop out, but I still feel the same way as I'm still trying to figure out what to do. Like I'm just like sometimes I'll say things like, "Oh, this'll go over well," and I say something it's just like nothing.
Yeah,
like, shit. All right.
But your attempt is so much. There's a lot of diaphragm and whatever. You're like where I'm just mumbling into the thing. Like, are you guys done tuning yet? Like,
are we good to go? Yeah.
Like, let's go here.
I'm trying to remember. I think it was I'm trying to remember what you were saying in Philadelphia, though, but Sam and I were standing at the side of the stage and we were howling. I can't remember what your banter was that night, but I have to say I was very jealous of what you were able to conjure up that night. So the street goes both ways.
Okay. I appreciate it. Shit.
So what was your first time? I mean, I guess once you had stepped outside of your early experiences with the church, so to speak, what was your first experience with rock and roll up there? Was it in a band? Like, were you asked to sing in a band, or did you start your own band, or how did that all go?
Yeah, I had my own projects. There was a metal band at my high school, with a name that didn't age so well, but called Slaves of Tomorrow. And I was mostly filming them. I was like doing a lot of. We filmed something in 2006. They had a show on, or we released like this DVD on 666.
Yeah.
Is that June 6th or whatever? 2006. Yeah. And so I was like involved a lot that way. Like I wanted to shoot music videos and shoot, and take people's pictures and whatever, and get involved in this band. And I was probably. Bless them and whatever, but Iron Maiden and whatever didn't speak to me like this other stuff was speaking to me at the time. So I didn't even really want to be in their band. I wanted to just help or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was fascinated by like the path and sort of the like, even just back then, the like chess game that is the music industry. Like, how are they doing it? How is this like supernova battle of the bands? Like,
Oh, yeah.
So you win that, and what's next after that? Like, how then do you get a hold of underground operations? I don't know if you remember. Like,
Oh yeah,
Protestio
all these names are ringing bells for me, and we had experiences with all of them.
Yeah, true.
We did Battle of the Bands. We
In the Nil.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. We won one Battle of the Bands at McMaster High School, and we got, all the judges from that show disband.
Okay.
They were there.
Whoa.
And we had this, one of the people on the panel, I don't want to mention his name, but he wanted to manage us, and it was not going to work out. I mean, just based off our first few conversations and where he wanted to take us, we were like, we're a fucking rock band, dude. I'm not working with a fucking outside songwriter. I'm a genius. I'm 19 years old. Fuck that. And also there was a horrific contract that he had put on the table, and it was not even seriously contemplated. But
Good for you.
that segued us into meeting the good folks from Underground Operations. But yeah, we did all those Battle of the Bands things where like you had to go out and sell the tickets and bring all your friends, and then some band, they'd be like, oh, the representative from Warner Music's gonna be here, and you're like, wow, it's our big shot, and they'd tell us every time like, yeah, he got in a car accident, he's not coming down today.
Yeah, exactly.
And we're like, oh shit, is he okay? And he's gonna be just fine. But it's there's gonna be no judges today, and oh shit, kicked over a bottle. But anyways, yeah, I mean I guess, as you said, the whole thing's a game, and the game changes, but the basic tenets are the same. And there's a lot of people looking to take advantage of artists under the pretext of assisting their career. And the funny thing is, some bands actually do rise through these carnival games, but most don't. Most are just making money for seedy promoters that drive around in
honestly
cigarette stained cars and never pay you. But anyways, enough of my experiences. But
no, but that was it. Like
yeah.
Supernova. Okay, wait. You would have played that in what year?
2010.
Called the Dirty Nil.
Yep.
God damn, that's tight.
And so one of the things that we won was we got to play at all of the participating universities in the thing, but we had to email them and book the dates. And so like Kyle did it, bless his soul. He mailed all these universities, and only like I think we're supposed to play at like 10 of them or like 15 of them, and like we got to play maybe 3 shows. The other people just would not respond to our messages. But one of the shows, like one kid responded to our email at one of the colleges in Waterloo, and we got to open for Alexis on Fire. And they're like, oh shit, this is a mistake. You're not actually allowed to play this show. And we're like, well, we're coming. And they had to figure it out and put us on.
And you played?
Yeah, we played. That was the first time we met Alexis on Fire. Yeah.
Holy.
And that was great. But,
do you have pictures or anything from that?
We might. That was in that was in September of 2010, and then we played some other shows. Like we played just we played up in Sudbury at was that Georgian University or college, and
wow.
Yeah, we played some weird shows and stuff, but ultimately what it did yield us was we got to be on Disband, that show.
Yes.
And I'm still looking because they had the whole thing with like Greg Norrie bursting in on us. They shot like hours of footage, and then like one day we got a phone call. They're like, "You guys are just too boring. You can't be on the show. Like, there's not enough conflict. You guys just like sit around, play your guitars, and there's no
drama.
There's no drama." And they're like, that's not going to work for us. And I was like, Okay, sounds good. And we thought our career was over. But in retrospect, I mean, for the last 10 years, I'm pretty thankful that we were not on Disband, though I would love to see the footage that they shot.
Right. Honestly.
Yeah, it would be great.
Who still, is that like Bell Media or something? Who can
Good question.
look for that stuff? I want to see that.
I would love to see it. It'd be great archival stuff to post up. But
honestly.
yeah, that was an experience in and of itself. We were all still in university at that time. Like I was going to be a psychologist. And I was at Laurier. And I remember them coming up, and the day they were filming me at my school, somebody in my house that I was living with, threw a tantrum and like smashed the windows out of our house.
What?
And they like filmed it. So I was like, how is this not enough drama for you guys?
Honestly.
But anyways,
they
show
miss the
folded
shot?
though. The show folded.
Right.
I think the guy got a little bit of it, but my recollection is, I think I want to believe that they got some of it, but they might not have. But anyways,
Yeah.
crazy experience.
Honestly.
Disband. We thought our career was over. We're like, that's it, guys. Like,
Did they tell you to disband?
no, we didn't even get to that point. Like we were just like, we were shaping up to do, and I think at that time too, the show was undergoing an overhaul where they were like gonna maybe remove the judgment part,
Right.
and they were gonna like you were just gonna. I can't quite remember, but they were modifying the format
Right.
because they wanted to make it like less negative.
Wow.
Which to me was the best part of the show.
Because disband.
Yeah.
It's like if your band
Yeah.
sucks ass or they feel, then they're like, you disband.
I was really not looking forward to being told to disband.
Honestly.
But,
Wow.
anyways, yeah, we didn't get far. Like there was just one day we got a phone call and it was not going to fly. They were
Wow.
putting a fork in it for us, but
It's a heart sinker though.
yeah, the show folded. Like I think they did like 2 artists that year, and they both had like really, really negative vibes to them, and it was like, yeah, we just didn't fit the look that they were going for at that point.
Jeez. But despite it,
yeah, we're still here. Yeah.
Here we are.
So
yeah. For real. Dude, let me ask,
yeah.
if I may, at what point did you realize like your jawline and shit? At what point did you realize how handsome you are?
At no point.
No, at what point though did people start to say like, this guy is outstanding at music and
At no point in my life. I think
yeah.
I just wish I could grow a beard.
Well, actually, dude, you've got it all. You got it all.
It's very kind of you to say, Brandon. I all I found is that if you get yourself in a tight spot, just keep smiling.
I
And
see.
people think you're
Dude, that's a charming
they'll let you
answer.
through.
It's
They'll
good.
let you
Okay.
through. Yeah.
Okay.
But I have one more memory of Disband, and
Yep.
that was every single time they were filming me, they had to stop filming because I wouldn't stop chewing gum.
Really?
I still to this day, like,
Because you're not supposed to do that on TV.
well, the
or-
guy's like, we're not putting that on TV that you chew gum all the time. I'm like, I fucking love gum. Like, I don't know why, but I think it's just like,
good.
I'm just a cow. I just love chewing.
Yeah,
You know? But
honestly.
they had to like, they had to stop filming. Like they're just like gum, like every 10 minutes, gum. Like there'd be like the guy filming, like stop the camera. And I remember we played, I think it was like we played Fucking Up Young for the first time.
Wow.
And I was terrified to play it because like I was still super unconfident to like in singing on stage. And I remember them filming that and me just being so nervous beforehand. And we were opening for the Arkells.
Wow. Who became the homies, right? Like after probably yeah.
They were they were the Arkells at that point, but
they were your homies after that.
yeah,
Like,
that was the first time I think we really kind of met them.
Wow.
Yeah, I think the first experience that they had of us was that like they found somebody in our band's like weed scattered throughout their dressing room, and they're like, "Whose weed is that?" And then I was like, "Oh yeah, I think it's probably somebody in our camps."
that's hilarious.
That was the first time we met them.
Holy.
And then Max asked us if he's like, do you want to come up on stage and sing like this Stevie Wonder song with us? I was just like, no, I don't know anything other than like the Replacements and Dinosaur Jr. I was like, I've never heard this song in my life.
Wow.
But they were doing the soul deep cuts at that point. But I was just looking to destroy, so it just didn't quite work out that time. But
and then from there, you guys were like dropping. You were like dropping singles and EPs and shit, right? 7 inches.
Yeah.
I remember.
Yeah.
And then it was like this long build, I felt, to like the debut.
Yeah, we definitely. I mean, there was an intense internal debate as to what to do. Like, I was like, when we had Fucking Up Young, which we recorded in 2010, along with like 9 other songs or something. I was like, this is our first album. I want this to come out, and everyone kind of had an intervention with me, and we're like, we can't put this out because if we just put this out, nothing's going to happen. And that's when we met Adam Bentley, and he's just like, guys, if you put this out, it's going to be a horrible campaign. We're not like, I'm not going to be able to get anybody interested. Drop the best songs from it. We got to build you up some momentum. And Adam was like, told me with a straight face, he's like, these other songs are not as good as this song. He's like, these 2 are really good, but these ones, I don't know. Like,
right.
And he was right. Like, it was, there was 3 songs that we still play them sometimes, but we almost always play Fucking Up Young. But like, there was Cinnamon was on there, and this song called Verona Lung that we haven't really played much these days. But we had like some other crazy sounding songs with like bizarre, weird breakdowns and stuff, and some other stuff that just was not really kind of up to the caliber of those ones. But
True.
Adam was smart where he's just like, listen, he kind of gave us our strategy. He's just like, we need to get you guys some foothold here and get some traction going. And so Adam dropped Fucking Up Young for us in 2011, and then the next year we made a video, and then like that song
At the party.
Yeah, that song lived for a while and just kind of kept going. And then, we dropped more singles, and then we did an EP, and then like Fucking Up Young came back, and then eventually it was like, okay, we need to make a record. And I will say that during this kind of singles period, we talked to labels, and like the contracts that they were offering us were not good. And we were just like, we'd rather do this on our own, and we know that eventually that you'll come to the table with better terms.
Wow.
And so I'm glad that we did that,
Seriously.
Because we were offered some contracts, and we were kind of torn as to whether to take them, but we ultimately decided to do our own thing. And I'm not saying we learned a lot of lessons the hard way that are still relevant about vinyl times and all that stuff.
Right.
But I have to give ultimate credit to Adam Bentley. He really did shepherd us through that kind of early period of like being a band capable of making songs that people will like, but bridging that point to like actually releasing a record that people will actually care when it comes out,
right.
And I think that's basically that's what won me over. I didn't like Adam when we met him. Like, I was like, fuck you, I want to put this shit out. I also at that point hated everybody in the music industry because of these kind of like early contracts that we had been offered. I was just like, everybody is out here to fuck us over. I hate all these people. I was like an old man when I was 19.
Wow.
I was just like,
Jaded
I didn't want
already.
to talk to any of these people.
Yeah.
I just thought they were all hustlers.
Wow.
And Adam was the first guy that we met where I was just like, this guy actually cares. Like, he actually wants this to succeed. He's invested. He's not just like trying to, we've never signed anything with Adam. We've been working with him for 11 years. Like,
you trust each other. Right?
Yeah.
You trust his calls. And
yeah.
That's good.
And so Adam really, really is probably the reason why one of the reasons why we're still a band, know, because he really, as I said, helped us get through. Because if we would have put out a couple of full lengths, and they're expensive to record and time consuming to write if you want to do it well. And, and if those just kept falling flat, I don't know if we would have stuck in it. So, I think Adam's strategy was really good. But eventually it was like, we got to do a full length, and it came together in the most chaotic way ever. Like, we I think we were just really inspired by what Pup did, like in terms of they made a really good sounding record. You know, their first record sounds wicked, and we're like, let's, you know, we can make a big, loud, nasty record, but I think we're completely unaware of what we actually sounded like at that point. So when we went into make Higher Power, we were incapable of like playing to a click. We sometimes play to a click, sometimes don't, but like our tempos were wild. We weren't good in the studio at that point, put it that way. Like we were just kind of like trying weird shit. And so Higher Power took a while and like it was mixed by different people, and finally John Goodmanson mixed it, and I love how it sounds now. I had a while where I was like, I can't listen to that goddamn record, but I can't. I was at somebody's house like a few months ago, and they're like, I'm putting on this song, and I'm like, if you put on that song, I will cave in your fucking head. Please do not. And he like put it on. I'm like, it sounds way better than I remember. I thought in my mind, it sounds like razor blades fucking in a garbage can rolling down a hill. But it sounds like that, but good too.
Yeah. It sounds sick. It's tight. And
thanks, dude.
I get what you mean. Like you need some distance from it or something though before you can return and appreciate it, because you just remember the
hell of a process. Took forever. Like we started in 2014 and in the fall of 2014, and it didn't come out until February 2016. So that always sucks, sitting on shit. You know, looping back to our the very first thing we talked about, like when you have a record and you have to sit on it forever, like I will not do that again. No. I will not. I refuse to ever do that again. I'd rather just like, what's the best that we can do to support this, and then let's just move on to the next thing. Sitting on I find it hard to move on creatively, like when you're still sitting on something.
Yeah, and I'm feeling sort of an empty nest now that it's out. I want to immediately write more, and I've got time right now waiting for tours to happen or figuring out when shows are going to happen or whatever. I'm like, okay, I'm going to keep writing or whatever, because now all my babies or whatever have gone. You know what I mean? They're on.
The silo's empty.
Honestly. So I think it's...
Got to get back out in the field, son.
Honestly. So that's the way I'm feeling now. But I get what you mean, waiting on stuff to come out. I had a similar experience on the first record, and a label was cutting tracks and stuff off the record and suggesting that an EP come out before. It was like this really bizarre, bad experience, honestly, with the first record, and just had to wait months and months.
Yeah.
Like I think over a year for that after delivery it came out.
Wow.
13 months after. So that was annoying too, just sitting around being like, and then hearing all your mistakes, right? Now I can listen to it back. I don't remember
the mistakes. You obsessed over.
Yeah, and the stuff we you know what I mean? Comped in or whatever. I don't know. I don't remember anymore, but
that's the thing about, I think, any kind of record is that, like, you know, it's the right balance of like giving it everything you got to be as proud as to make the best piece that you can, but also kind of like not having it just like sit there. It's like a meal, man. That's how I feel about it. Like it's like cooking a really nice meal. Like you don't want it sitting there in the hot plate forever, you know, being like, did I add enough salt? Maybe I'll just add a little bit. Should I put that back in the pan a little? And then it's like by the end, you can't even like what you've done anymore, you know, because you just had too much time to think about it. And I think most people in our position are pretty obsessive, you know, about things. And that's why I like deadlines, because it's like, all right, this has to be done by this time because it's coming out then. And then I can just move on to the next thing and, you know, let the chips fall where they may. And it's beautiful to see people enjoy it. But like, I got to get this thing off my window, because if I just keep sitting here, I'll find things that I want to change about it. And
it's true.
Yeah, I mean, it's a dinger. All the people that I know that have sat on records for the pandemic feel like shit. Like at least in my, you know, circle of homies, like,
because they listen to them back or whatever. Yeah, and they're like, but I'll change this. Yeah, I'll change this.
It never makes it better, man. It like, I don't know. You gotta just. It's also way better than you think it is. Like that's like if you were really pumped when you made it, go with that feeling. You know,
that's such a good call. I know, because there's a purity there, right? And you got to kind of retain that purity and not scratch it away by trying to fix little shit or whatever. big time.
And have the discipline to be able to be like, walk away. That's why it's like, that's why a producer's great, you know, because like, it's kind of like hiring, like a babysitter over and like somebody who like making records is like a weird addicting process I find for myself, where I'm just like, I want to keep trying things and doing like, and it's great to have someone who you have hired with money to be like, nope, we're taking you off this. It's done. And I'm signing off on it. And like, you basically hire someone to like, who's like your sponsor.
Oh yeah.
That's what it feels. Yeah. That's what,
honestly,
that's what I
shepherd.
feel.
Yeah. Honestly, it's true. Yeah. It's, I think I probably need that a bit more on my stuff. Like we work with Simon Larochette, and he engineers everything, and
he's a fantastic engineer.
He's amazing. He's the best, I think. Like but then I end up, honestly, I did like 6 passes on the master on this record, like just punished. Jeff Hartling mastered all the LPs, and he's amazing too, but I punished the process because I can't abandon it, like at the end especially. So the master, 6 tries at a master is not good news, because I'm just like too. So I need someone to say, okay, let's call it here, and let's like we got a
referee.
Honestly, and Simon has done that for us too, and been like, okay, there's got to be a line here, and we've tried this too many times or whatever. Wasn't it good before, or what if we do this or whatever? And people in the room that I work with have chimed in, of course, but sort of self-producing, it can be longer and more expensive probably than it needs to be. And funny enough, if you just spend a bit more money and hire a producer, you can sort of maybe save money. So I'm thinking potentially I want the next record to be self-titled Chastity, like LP4, and I don't know what's going to happen with it, but maybe a producer or something. I've just never worked with someone officially or whatever like that and hired a producer to come in, but maybe this round. But it's interesting, man. I know. Yeah. The sitting on things anyways. I'm just thinking of sitting on things.
Yeah.
And the producer and it's a crazy time.
Yeah.
Making
and it's
records.
For sure it is. And I also find one of the weirder things about recording is that like, I just find my mind begins to like slip when we're in the studio for too long, or like working on something where you kind of lose perspective on what's happening. And it's great to have somebody that's like really, really experienced who knows when to be like, this is great. And that's the end of it. You know, there's hilarious stories from people I've talked to, especially that were making like kind of indie pop records 15 years ago, like where they went, like they were working on the vocals so much and like editing so much that they like removed all the S's, you know, because they were just like, you know, like they
over de-essed.
Yeah, you just lose the fucking thread after a while, right?
Honestly.
Like I find recording to be just like it's like you're in like a radioactive room, and you kind of have to like get in. For me at least, I got to get in, execute, and then like leave. Honestly. Because I'll just go nuts in there trying shit or trying to beat something I've done or like do a better scream or whatever. And like I definitely depend on hired help to be like, that's it, you're done. Yes. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. Well, especially with vocals or something, right?
You
vocals,
can just go insane.
I sympathize a bit with the de-essing thing, because I'm like, did I say that weird? And do I have like a weird... People have said they can hear like a Canadian accent on some of my thing, which I can't tell.
I can't hear it.
I can't, like, I know, but I can't tell because I hear it around me all the time or whatever. But it's something I literally listen for. I don't want people to tell me that really, but so it's like this stuff and de-essing things, and does this need to be tuned maybe? Does this need to, or whatever? Did I sing it fucked up or whatever? So I've gone down that and re-recorded stuff and put Simon through like, all right, I'm coming back. When's your next date? Like we open his calendar and he's like, are we actually still recording this album?
Yeah.
Like, so I've been there with all my stuff, and Yeah, it's grueling, but
it is.
yeah.
It's kind of like, I don't know. I've never, there's only been a handful of times ever where I was just like, where I felt like, okay, it's done. And like when I do experience that feeling, it doesn't last. Where I'm just like, where then I hear something later, like, and I hear the exact same thing. And I'm like, wait, that just shouldn't sound like that. And as you said, I think you put it perfectly. Like none of that shit, like you don't even hear any of the shit that you obsessed over that you're like, we need to redo it. Like it doesn't matter. Like it actually doesn't matter.
No.
I also like, for me, the issue with sitting on a record or working on it too long is that you stop even like perceiving the things that you like about it and really just focus in on the things that you want to change. And it often takes me like other people to remind me of, be like, this sounds sick. And I'm like, yeah, it does sound sick. Like I forgot though, because I'm focused on this little thing here. Or like, I don't like how it's saying there, but I think everybody feels that way. Like there's some, I think it's part of the process of like really, really caring as much as you can and trying to make the best thing that you can, you know?
Yeah. I know, but it's like you care so much
that you're destroying it.
Don't trust. Yeah. It's like you trust yourself too much or something. And I know I got to let like outside feedback in or something and someone to say, but then I'm nervous. It's like letting someone in the studio or whatever during a session. It's like, they better say it's sick.
Yeah. You know what I mean? If you don't say it's sick, you're fucking gone. Yeah.
So I'm really nervous, honestly, to like protect myself from like criticism while I'm in there or whatever. It's like, I don't really want anyone to hear it, like, because I want to beat them to any criticism and sharpen it so sharp before they say anything, you know? So it's it's got to be like specific people that I know are nice.
Yeah. It's funny, like every kind of stage of the whole thing is just a leap of faith. Like, you know, especially when you're making stuff in isolation and you just, as cheesy as it sounds, you kind of just have to like reconnect with like, do I like this? You know, because it becomes very nebulous beyond that of just like, does this sound right? Does this sound right? You just kind of have to check in with yourself. And I mean, it's easier said than done past a certain point. Like when you've been working on a crop of songs for like a while, it's very hard to have an even perspective on it. Cause you're just like, it's gone through a lot of changes and you've polished it and all this stuff. And it's
and in the end you like the demo best.
In the end the demo's better. Yeah, exactly. So that's the funny thing about it too, is that like some of the, I mean, like for myself, I always just kind of think back, I'm like, what's my favorite shit? And it's like, there's lots of mistakes in my favorite music for other bands. So I'm just like, I should have mistakes in mine too. Like,
for sure.
You know, so that's why I like working with people that force me to keep mistakes, where they're just like I really like John Goodmanson. He's got a lot of mottos, not that he not official ones, but some one of my favorite utterances, I should say, of his was perfection is the enemy.
Honestly,
it's true, right? Like it's fun having weird things in there that you would do differently, but you didn't at that time. Yeah, and I don't know. It's very, very, very easy to get lost in the sauce when making a record.
Big time. Yeah. But people, I think, appreciate that grit or that purity or something that you let it go. And it's like a vulnerability. It's like, we fucked up that part, but here it is. We can all have it or whatever.
It's an aesthetic. In 2022, it's an aesthetic choice to keep mistakes in your recorded
for
music,
sure. Yeah,
you know?
For sure it is. So, yeah, it's sweet. Like on the first version, we have a song called You're Scary Now.
Of course.
And on the first version of that, there's a huge fuck up in the solo on the first 50 seconds of the song or whatever. And we kept it. We laughed when it happened and we heard it back and it made sense somehow.
Yeah.
And I don't know why we were just like, yeah, that's got to stay or whatever. We fixed it for Death Lust. But I appreciate the first version of it and just keeping that in. And have tried to sort of recreate that moment, I think. But you can't recreate little fuck ups and honest little things that happen. But if they do happen, it's like, let's keep that in there in a you're scary now type of way. You know what I mean? But yeah, shit. You're working on new stuff right now,
Yeah, totally. We're
if you don't mind me.
we got a lot of new songs. We're gearing up to get back in the studio. I'm really excited to do that. Like, it was definitely weird, like, you know, making fuck art and then being at home, and then I'm super happy we got to do some shows around it, you know, not as many as we like, but you know, it's better. Like, I had a blast. Like, that was a fun little run that we did.
So good.
We played some great shows. It's a bummer that we didn't get to do well, we're going to do Hamilton in April. We'll rip those shows, but yeah, it's a weird thing because it's just been a total off ratio for us, where like we make some songs, we work on them really hard, and then we play them for like years, and then like we get back to work and do it all over again. But this time it's been much more of a focus by necessity on just like making new music, which I'm really loving. Like, I've never enjoyed my relationship with writing music as much as I do right now.
Wow.
Just because for the first time ever, like the first time in like the history of my career as a songwriter, I like got back to work as soon as we finished Fuck Art. Wow. Usually it's like we finish a record, like when we finished Higher Power or Master Volume, I was just like done. Like I'm just like, I'm not touching it. Like I'm gonna let my writing muscles atrophize to nothingness, and then have to like frantically rebuild them and like have a crisis of my own faith and like be like, I can't do this anymore. Like that's usually been my process, and like build back my self-esteem like brick by brick. Honestly. But like this time I was just like, Fuck Art, done, super happy with that. Now on to the next one. So that's where we're at right now. Wow. I'm super jazzed on the tunes.
And you've had a year then of mostly, I mean, you guys toured though. You played some, I know not as much, but as soon as things opened in a safe way, you came back for a bit.
I think we got to do like 40 shows. Yeah.
Damn. Yeah. So that's maybe more than I've heard any other Canadian band doing. So it's tight. Like, you got some in, but other than that, you were writing and you were home, right? Like you're.
Exactly. And I mean, like one of the things, I mean, just going back to one of the things I just said earlier, like usually the vibe that we've had is like, okay, well, now you've finished the touring cycle for that album. Where's the next album? You know, that's kind of been what things are at. And Kyle and I really got a chance to be like, okay, well, let's just go down to the fucking basement and fucking bash away on nonsense and just like make... Like, let's not, like, I've got a few songs. I wrote a few songs, but, like, let's not even touch those yet. Like, let's just start bashing away together like we did since we were 16. Because that's the way my favorite Nil songs always happen. It's just, like, some kind of interaction between Kyle and I, just, like, that we didn't plan, where, like, I'll bring nothing. And we'll just, like, he'll just play a beat or whatever. I'll start a riff, and then we just start going together.
And there comes the riff. There comes the song.
We'll have our distorted, broken PA system that we've had since the band started, where I can't hear anything other than the note that I'm hearing. It's just like so distorted. So it's so fun to sing because it sounds like distortion guitar, like your voice. So it just sounds like Beastie Boys immediately, and you're just like, you know, that's what we did for like weeks, and kind of like got a bunch of stuff together, and you know, a bunch of it was crap and we couldn't use, but like it was the first time making new music has been as fun as that in a long time for me.
Wow,
you know?
Shit.
So I mean, one of the silver linings, at least for me, about the pandemic was like really getting to reconnect like what I love about like making music. I love obviously like being deprived of getting to play it for people has been a huge bummer, but refocusing our minds on just like, okay, what do we like about rock and roll? And like, let's make noise that makes no sense, but makes us laugh, you know, has been a beautiful thing that we haven't really had the luxury of doing, or at least we haven't felt like the luxury of doing, excuse me, that's a burp, in years, you know, where there wasn't any time imperative. We had nobody was like, there was no deadlines. It was just like, we're bashing away like teenagers again.
That's good.
So I'm really excited about what we've made.
It's been so existential, like the pandemic. I think we've had so much time alone probably that it's like, let's boil everything back down as best we can into like what we love about what we're doing.
Yeah.
Right?
Why are
it's
we
like,
doing this? Right. Like, you know,
and so let's do it the way it maybe started and we loved it back then or whatever. And
Yeah.
it's just like clarity. And I don't know, I feel clarity too from this time. I think it's like, okay, what do I want the project to be? What was the project originally?
Mm-hmm.
Not that it's strayed so far from that at all, but it's grown and stuff. And it's like, but where were the roots or whatever? I think it's sweet that you're like, okay, let's get this going. Old like OG style
Yeah.
or whatever, right? Like
Bashing away in the basement till my parents hit the circuit breaker and saying, that's enough of that shit for tonight.
Exactly.
No,
That's
it's
sweet.
I completely share that perspective that one of the benefits of this entire thing has just been a realignment of like, as you said, an existential answer, or like it forces you to really look at what you're doing. Everybody in the world is forced to really look at what they're doing because everything's shut down. The hustle and bustle has subsided significantly, at least for certain periods of time over this 3 years or 2 years or whatever it's been.
Yeah.
And you have to be like, why do I like this? And what do I like about this? And let's lean into that.
Yeah. And am I going to continue to
Yeah,
do
am I
this
gonna continue to do
challenging
this?
thing that consumes my whole goddamn life?
And if I'm going to do it, on what terms am I
Yes.
going to do it? Rather than
Exactly.
like, trying to, I love touring. I love playing shows. It is my favorite part about being in a band. But at the same time, like we were in a schedule of just like, we had just been on the road forever. And I mean, we had a month or two at home, but it wasn't really this like, but in that time, it was just like, gun to your head, you've got to be working on the next crop. And I'm not trying to complain or anything because I love my life, but like it was just a much more of a we were just on a much more controlled schedule with really, really intense deadlines, at least self-imposed. So it was really kind of hard to just enjoy bashing away in the basement with no one listening, you know? And that has been, as I said, like a really, really great thing to not have tour dates. And I love touring. I can't wait to get back out there. I hate to be pissing away this time not playing shows, but I really am. I have to say I'm happier playing music. I find more joy in it than I have in a long time, which is has been great. It's
so good.
Yeah, it sounds like you've kind of been able to have a similar experience, when you're not thinking about. I mean, we had to think about visas and stuff in the fall. And
It's true.
Sucks
I did
moving
too.
around dates and stuff, but just getting to write alone with yourself is great.
Oh, big time. No, it's true. Yeah, there's sort of been the email game has started more and more with this new record or whatever, and our visas came the night before or the morning.
Oh
of
my
our
God, that
tour.
was a nail biter, eh?
It was insane.
Yeah.
So that was a bit of a nightmare. And but exactly, man, it's just been kind of boiling it back down to like, okay, what do I love about this shit? I want to do more of that shit then and whatever, but it's been good, man.
It has
Trippy
been
ride.
good.
Trippy ride.
Trippy ride, eh? Rock and roll. I mean, it's a long way to the middle if you want to rock and roll, as AC/DC, I think, say. But in conclusion, I mean, I just wanted to ask you. I mean, like, what are you looking forward to about this year? I mean, you just dropped an amazing new record, and it's getting the praise that it deserves. I'm sure I saw some of your dates lined up. You're doing that one in that sick ass festival in the UK, right? With Turnstile and Knocked Loose playing it as well.
That'll be crazy.
Yeah. What else you got going on? What are you looking forward to?
Yeah, just sort of sorting it. Like, really looking forward to getting overseas again. Like, got some Canadian stuff coming up. I can't even. I've got a bit of COVID brain right now, but just touring. I want to tour our fucking faces off when it's safe and when it's chill to do so. Got some rapid tests sorted out.
Nice.
You know what I mean? Like, got some stuff. Got it going. So, yeah, I think in my mind, I'm kind of picturing like the record's called Suffer Summer. I kind of just want to do like a Suffer Summer tour and just be gone all summer. It seems to be the safe time to be able to play shows when it's hotter out. Yeah. And people are outside, not as like inside as much with each other. So I just want to tour and do it, as much as we can and play these as much as we can. And I think in the meantime, I'm just gonna keep writing music and
Start filling up the hopper again.
honestly. So that's what I'm doing. Like I've just been writing and whatever, kind of waiting for the world to come back and just trying to fucking post on the internet so that people don't forget Suffer Summer just came out. And so it's I've never been in this position before, right? None of us fucking have. With just trying to promote something while not being out there. So, but we're sitting in January now.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, we've got 12 months to figure out how can we fill this in the wisest ways possible, So just sorting it out, like what's up at the Toronto show? Is there going to be a Whitby show? Is there going to be, you know what I mean? Just trying to figure it out. So, but I think some of the first shows back are going to be with you and the fucking Hammer.
It's going to be great, man.
Let's do it. Yeah.
I'm going to put up a Christmas tree. Still the holiday shows.
Sweet.
We'll see.
That's so good. I saw someone say like, you're going to still play the Christmas song.
Listen, I said, if you yell it out,
yes,
we'll play it.
Yeah. So good.
That doesn't go for every song though, just the Christmas song. But those will be really fun. And I agree. I think honestly, I'm not to sound like a naive optimist here, but there does seem to be a bit of a light at the end of the tunnel with all this stuff. Going on year 2 of saying that.
Honestly.
At least like even looking at it pessimistically, there's going to be some nice windows of greatness this year, and we'll have to savor those. And I think you've timed out this whole thing really well. You got a wicked album that just dropped. It's getting a lot of attention. It seems to be building beautifully, and you'll be able to capitalize on it nicely in the spring. And then we're back to another lockdown. I don't want to jinx it, but no, it's damn it. Joe Rogan told me.
Jeez. We're kind of going Joe Rogan style here for the long form, Mitch? How long we got? It's good. Okay, not bad. Not bad. That's good. I'm cheering for Neil Young, by the way.
Yeah, me too. I don't think he's going to win, but
I'm worried.
The world is a crazy place.
It is.
It's so irritating to watch people argue on the internet and be like, I'm calling you out on the internet. And it's just like,
it's true.
I don't care though, man. And I'm not trying to say I don't care about world issues, and because I do, but like I just can't. What if we just like ignore the whole Joe Rogan thing? Will it go away? Like, or do we? I don't know. I don't know what the answers to these questions are. These are philosophical questions beyond my peanut mind. But
for the next podcast, anyway. For the next, time.
Exactly. We'll leave that for the next one. The next time we reconvene for one of these in Joe Rogan's United States of America.
Honestly, we'll see you then.
He's president. Yeah. Joey Diaz is head of state.
Holy shit!
All right. Any parting words to the people out there on the wonderful internet? Any advice to young bands?
Oh my goodness.
Anything like that?
Keep it up on the TikTok, and no, I don't know. Thank you for having me on this, and I've watched this podcast a bunch and listened to this podcast a bunch. So thank you for having me on and having me over here. And I'm sorry I asked you about being handsome.
Oh, Brandon, you can ask me anything, dude.
Okay.
Me casa, su casa, dude.
Right. Appreciate it. Thank you, Luke.
Thank you for coming on, Brandon. Everybody check out Suffer Summer, and much love. Hail, hail, rock and roll. Take care of each other.